So you'll see that we have the full width banner going on right now. We also have some standard text that you would have on a standard website, and then just some basic images that you could either use for products or ministries. And then we have our About Us page, which has some parallaxing feature up at the top. A parallax is when the image is static or it is fixed, and you have something on top of it that moves with the page, and so you can kind of see that happening. Again, some more standard text, and then some block images that have some animation that moves with them. As we scroll down, we have a full width video that we've placed in here, and let me tell you, this whole page right here took less than 5 minutes to throw together. We have an image that we put together that is half the border size, as well as some text and a call to action button, and again, our footer as well. Just like any other church site, we have our messages page, which will be, we just kind of threw together a quick parallax there. And then we'll be working with a brand new page, which has nothing on it. And you'll see how fast we can put things together. If you are a current member of the Gridbox team, meaning you have a website with us, chances are, as we kind of look through everyone who is with us today, you are on website 1.0. The reason for that is because that's how we built our sites. We built them on Joomla platform. Our website 2.0 are also built with Joomla platform. The reason why we like Joomla, we like the way that it works. It's very open as far as customizations. With that said, you're going to find that this new way of development on the front end surpasses everything that we've worked with in the past. It very rarely will you actually have to go into the back end of Joomla to update anything. Uh, Unless you're going to be working with forms or adding a gallery, you're really going to be able to log in and pretty much update your site from the front end. So with that said, you'll see that I have two tabs open. I have our Joomla backend open, and then I also have the front end. Now I've already logged in, and to everyone else, this is what they would pretty much see minus this little pencil here on the bottom right-hand side. Once you're logged in and you navigate to a page, you'll be able to edit that page by simply navigating to the pencil and simply selecting Edit Page. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. This will open up another tab, and now I'm in edit mode, and it's indicated by, you'll see these little blue borders, and as I move my mouse, you'll see it's also indicated by these little call to action buttons on each of the corners. And we'll talk about what those are as we kind of move forward. And pretty much anywhere that I select on the screen, you're going to go ahead and see everything is now selected, and I can update that, including the footer, and we'll get to that as well. One of the things I want to bring to your attention is up at the top left-hand side, or actually the very top, is our top bar, our menu bar. It's not really much of a menu in the sense that, it doesn't have home, about us, and so forth, but it does have a checkbox and some arrow keys, and then over to the far right, it has, looks like a little monitor and a gear. On the far left, we have a checkbox. And so with that said, this is our save. Anytime you're working with live ammo, as it is when it comes to websites, when you're working with this live, you want to make sure that you save your information periodically lest you lose it, because you are working in what's called internet cache. It's not saved until you physically save it. So if you've been working for 15 minutes and you decide to refresh your page but you don't save it, you just lost 15 minutes worth of work. So be sure to save your information. Another benefit of this is that you have the undo and redo features. So if ever you make a mistake, you can actually just simply click on undo or redo and bring back your work, or however you want to work that through. On the far right, we'll get to this little monitor button here in just a moment, but this gear is going to become very powerful. If I select that, you're going to see that it tells us we have our title here. This is the theme. This will change based off of what element you have selected at any given time. Right now, I am looking at the master theme property box, and you'll see it's represented by the header, the body, and the footer. On our website, we have a header. The header is our logo and menu area. The body is everything in between, and the footer is the very bottom. And so it's broken up into three specific areas. Now, the benefit to this is if I want to, I can actually change some of this information. For instance, if I want to change the header, I can go ahead and do that. Now, before I do that, I'm seeing that some people might be having some issues, and so I just want to make sure. Is everybody still connected? If you can just type that into the message box here. Yep, okay. Looks like we lost one person. Okay, I think we're good. It looks like it was just one other person there. I'm just looking through our stuff here. Okay, yeah, looks like we're all together. Okay, so going back, we have our header, body, and footer. Now, one of the benefits of this is if, back in the old style 1.0, if ever I wanted to maybe change my logo, change the background color of the menu, or even change the fonts or the color of the fonts, chances are you would have to contact Gridbox because those are things that are typically hard coded into the website. Well, with the new 2.0 feature, you don't have to do that. In fact, I can simply click on header, and now I have all these different options that we can work with. Now, just so you know, this is a webinar. It's timed, which means we're not going to spend a lot of time on every element because that would just take too much time. So we're going to cover the things that you typically come across. So in our case, if I wanted to change some of the nav menu options, I would click on nav menu. And that again is dealing with home, about us, messages, new page, the way that looks. We have three options here. We have typography, hover, and active. The benefit of this is I can click on typography and I can actually begin to change the font. And so if I choose right now, I'm looking at the font family and it tells me what it is, I can select that. And now I have all these fonts here. And I know what you may be thinking. You might be looking at this and saying, well, that's not really a lot. Well, actually it is because it's working off of the Google font property box. And so what we can do is if there is a font in here that we don't have that maybe we want and it's a Google font, we can actually go to Google Fonts like so. So I'll go over here and I'll type in Google font and I'll go to the Google font page. And now we literally have thousands of different fonts that we can work with. And so if there's a specific font that you want out of Google font, all you have to do is select it. So for instance, let's suppose that I want this font here. So I'm going to go look at it. And a couple of things that we see here is that it has the name. So I'm going to highlight the name and I'm actually going to copy the name. Very important. We'll get to that in just a moment. But also we see that we have different options here as far as the styles. We have 400 and 700. So we'll want to remember that as well. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to select add font. And it's asking me for the font name. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in the font name that we had. And as far as the font style, I'm going to go ahead and put in, let's see, we had two different ones. I'm going to go ahead and put in 400. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to put in 400 and I'm going to choose upload. And what it's doing is it's literally grabbing that code from Google's site and now putting it inside of my website to where now I can use this throughout my entire website. And so if I want to now, I can search for that font. Here it is. I just found it. I can now select that. And now notice the menus have changed to that Google font, which is simply incredible because it's that easy. I don't have to do any hard coding for this. If I want to, I can also change the color of the font. So let's suppose I wanted this like a bright red, which I would really never do, but just for the purpose of this, you can see what that does. If I want to, I can also change the font size with the slider bar. Or if I have a specific size in mind, I can put it in here. I can also work with the line height. I could add underline, I can make it italic. I have a lot of different options that I can work with. With this said, I can also go back to my nav menu and I can choose what the hover color will be. You'll see right now it's gray, and you'll also see that the active color for home is black. I can change that by simply clicking in here and choosing a different color. Let's suppose that I want the hover color to be like a blue, and so now when I hover, it's blue. And of course, I could do the same for the active menu. I could change that to be any other color that I want. If I want it to be kind of a weird yellow mustard color. Now, once I close this, it still isn't saved. So if at any time I don't like the way this looks, I can certainly come over here and I can select the undo feature. And it actually undoes in layers. And so it'll go through each item that I've done and literally begin to undo that. And so every command that I did, it's going back, all the way back to the very beginning to where it's grayed out. And so that's one of the benefits of having the undo feature and actually seeing what you can do in live format. Along with this, we are going to kind of scroll down here. One of the benefits too of a website is a banner. This is a place to where you can advertise if you're a business, your products, or obviously if you're a church, your upcoming events or ministries. It's a very powerful tool. If you're with our website 1.0 feature, you know that working with banners can be kind of complex because you have to then go into the component and you have to update it and change it, and it can take a lot of time. Well, with our new 2.0 feature, it's actually quite simple. Now, before we get into changing that, I do want to bring your attention to our little call to action boxes. These are these little ones that have the arrow, the pencil, and the ellipsis. The reason why is we are working with multiple objects here. We have what is called a section. Now, a section is basically a compartment that you're going to have a row and a column or an item inside of. And so this banner is literally sitting in a container or a section, as it would be called. Underneath that, we also have our column, or basically column and or row. Because we're dealing with one item here, it's the row and the column are one and the same, but yet they hold two separate properties. We're not going to get too much into that, but you'll see a better idea of that a little bit later. Inside of this section or column or row, you also have the item or the object that you're going to be using. In our case, this is a rotating banner. And so you'll see that we have a rotating banner that goes back and forth. To add a slide, all I have to do is highlight over this little pencil for the banner, this particular object. And when I click on it, it brings up my property box. Now, remember before when I told you that it'll always tell you what you're editing. Right here, it tells me that I'm working with the slideshow. And this will actually change based off of what I select. So if I come over here and I select the pencil, now it tells me that I'm on the row. Or if I come down to the bottom left, it tells me that I'm working with the entire section. If I move this box out of the way and I come down and select the bottom right, I'm now working with the column. And so every element has options to work with, which is very powerful when it comes to editing. So I'm going to go ahead and select the banner. And from here, I want to choose slides because maybe I want to add a slide or maybe I want to remove a slide. For the purpose of this webinar, I'm actually going to start off by removing this slide. And it's very simply done by selecting it, clicking on the trash can and hitting apply, and now that slide is gone. If I want to add a slide, it's as easy as coming up and clicking on the plus sign. Now from here, I have two options. I can add a video or I can add an image. If I decide to add a video, it's going to ask me for a YouTube video ID. And so we typically recommend having a video channel like YouTube. The reason why is because of bandwidth. A lot of people ask us, well, can we upload videos to our website? The answer is yes. However, why use your bandwidth when you can use somebody else's? And so we typically recommend having like a YouTube channel. This really helps with the speed of the website. I'm going to go ahead and close that, and for this purpose, I'm going to choose image. And with the image up, I have the option to upload an image from my local computer. I can choose a new computer, or I can simply delete if I want to select something down here. I already have something uploaded, as we just saw a minute ago. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I'm going to choose apply. So now I actually have this image in here, and if I click on the navigation button, you'll see that my image is there. And so I've just uploaded a banner image, or I've just included a banner image. It's that simple, and it's on the fly. I can see exactly how it looks once I have it in place. Now, if I want to add some text to this, it's very easy to do. Click back on the pencil. I'm going to go back over to slides, and I want to make sure I'm selecting the banner image that I'm going to be working on. And you can have as many banner images as you want. And we'll see the properties of these in just a moment as well. So I'm going to select this banner, and I'm going to click on the pencil tool. Immediately, I have the Edit Slide dialog box that pops up. From here, I have some options. I can choose a different image if this is not the particular image that I want. I'm going to go ahead and keep this image for now. The title of this, we can add any title we want. This could be your ministry title. This could be your product title. It could be a call to action title. It doesn't matter. And we can put in, get this product today. And the description is, this is going fast, we'll say. We'll make it kind of salesy. And if I choose apply, it's been added. If I click on the navigation button, there it is. It's that simple. And this text is actually editable, which means it's a layer on top of the image. The reason why that's important is if you're doing any SEO or search engine optimization, you want to make sure that your text is where you can actually select it. You want it to be searchable or indexed by Google. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the pencil again, and maybe we want to add a button to this. And watch how easy this is. I'm going to go back to my slides option. I'm going to click on the slide. I'm going to choose the edit button again. And here I have a button label and a button link and a target. My button label is what the button is actually going to say. So I can just type in, click me. And maybe I want it to go somewhere. So I'm going to type in http www.greedbegone.com. Now, here, just a quick rule of thumb. When it comes to the target, we have two options. We have new window, we have same window. Whenever you're going to be having a button click outside of your website to a brand new website that has nothing to do with your website, you typically want it to go to a brand new window. The reason for this is it'll keep your website active in the background. That way, when they close that new website that they just had open, it'll show up on yours. It'll basically have your website in the background. However, if you're going to link to some place within your website, that's when you would choose same window. For the purpose of this, I'm going to choose new window. Someone asked, is there a new option for a new tab? That would actually be new window. That is a new tab. Good question. So I'm going to leave that as new window, and you'll see how that opens up in a brand new tab there. And I'll go ahead and choose apply. And remember now, I haven't saved any of my work, but there's my big button. Click me. And I'm going to go ahead and save this now. I'm going to come up to the little checkbox, and I'm going to click on save. And it says item successfully saved. Now, I'm in the edit tab up here. You can see the editor. I'm going to go back to the original site here, and I'm just going to refresh this. And the reason why is you can actually see how this works on a live site. So I'm going to go here to the new slide that we created. It says click me, so I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And notice it opens up to a brand new tab. So if I close this tab, it returns me to my website. That's really what you want. You don't want this to open up to another website and in lieu of your site. You want them to actually have your site still active in the background. Okay, so going back here, one other thing I want to show you with the banner, again, just the power behind this. You know how to add a slide, it's super easy, but what about changing the properties of a slide on the fly? So for instance, if you are a business owner or you're a pastor or you're a staff member and your boss or you are the boss comes to you and says, hey, I want this banner to look bigger. This looks a little thin to me. Well, in our old way, you would have to go back to the properties and mess with them. You'd have to bring your image into Photoshop and kind of re-image it to try to get it to fit perfectly. That's a thing of the past with this 2.0 foundation. I'm going to select this little pen tool here, and now I'm going to choose options. And right off the bat, my first option is full screen. And if I actually click on full screen, you'll see that it literally goes full screen to where now people would have to scroll down to see the rest of the website. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Maybe I want it a custom size, so I can now take this slider and notice what it's doing. It's literally enhancing the image to fit within that box, and I can actually have this any size that I want. I can bring it down really small or bring it up really large, or I can actually type in a property of my choosing. So I'll put in 550 for now. I also have the option to have it autoplay, so that way when someone goes to the website, it'll actually filter through there. And as of now, it's set for 3 seconds. 3,000 milliseconds equal 3 seconds. And so I can change that. Maybe I want it to be 7 seconds long. And so now you'll see it'll slow down, and after 7 seconds, it will now transfer to the next slide. Maybe I want them to pause on mouse over. When their mouse is over the slide, I don't want the slide to move. So I have that option. Another thing as well, I'm going to turn off autoplay for the purpose of what I'm going to show you here. We have two different types of navigation. We have our arrow navigation, which you've already seen, but I don't know if you caught this. Down at the bottom, we have our dot navigation. And our dot navigation allows us to do the exact same thing. It allows us to go to each slide. Some people don't like the dot navigation because as they gain more slides, it kind of, throws off the images there. And so we can turn that off by clicking on dot navigation, and now those are gone, and we're just left with the arrow navigation. Along with that, one of the benefits too is we do have animation, and you can change that. As of now, we just have fade. This is a global animation, which means it's going to apply it for all the slides. And so I can have it horizontally fall in. I can do offset horizontal where it fades in. I mean, all these different things, scale in, you'll see it kind of flies in there. And I also have Ken Burns effect. This is a really cool effect because it kind of gives a 3D animation to the feel, kind of pulling you into the image. And so this works great if you have a lot of good scenery images, kind of what we have right now, just a great effect. I'm going to go back to fade for the purpose of this. One other thing too is you'll see that my image here is kind of bright. And some people have bright banners, and the problem with that is it kind of drowns out any text that they have. One thing that we've added here is what's called the background overlay. And if I select that, you'll see that it literally puts an overlay over the image. Now I can change the color of this overlay, and we have literally 16.8 million colors to choose from. So if you get bored on a Friday night and you have nothing else to do, you can check out all those different colors. Along with that, we can choose what transparency range we want that to be. And so I can just grab this little handlebar and you'll see that my image is getting darker, but my text isn't. And so I can literally choose how dark I want that to be. And again, this is a global setting, so just take caution when using that. I'm going to go back to my slideshow, and we do have margins and other things. Again, if we're not going to be getting into code here, but if you are a coder or if you have coders on staff, they can actually make their own class suffix. You can actually open up an editor and you can literally just start, typing in your own code here, whatever you want it to be. And you can actually apply this suffix. We're not going to get into that right now, but you do have that option. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'm going to scroll down. And here we come to another powerful area of our web page, text. Anytime you've had to update text in the past, you would have to go into the article and literally find the article that you want to edit and then open it up and work with it. If you've ever worked with our page builder in 1.0, you know that it's a great tool, but it's also kind of clunky and it's a little bit problematic. Excuse me while I took a drink there. It's problematic, whereas with this one, we can edit on the fly. And so for instance, you'll see as I place my mouse over an element, automatically those grids open up to let me know that I can edit this. And so right here it says, welcome to our 2.0 is here. Well, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. And our new web 2.0 is here. There we go. And so I just edited that on the fly. I didn't have to go into any special tool or anything. Now, one other thing I want you to see is that as I highlight my text, this little grid box pops down, this little toggle box, and this allows me, if I want to make my text bold or italic, I can even change the different formatting or styles if I want to. I can add a hyperlink right here. I also have this pencil tool. I have this pencil tool here, and I also have it within the grid box itself. Both of them will bring me to the exact same place. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and this opens up to my edit description area, and I can literally add more features here. If I highlight this, I can now underline it if I want to. I can add an image here, which I necessarily wouldn't do it that way. There are many other ways to do images, but maybe if I want to change the alignment of my text or whatever, I have that area here. Also, again, for you coders, you can click on source and add custom code here. This works especially well if you need to embed something like a form from a different website or a video from another website. It just works that easy. I'm going to go ahead and choose close. And once again, I want to make sure that we save our work continually so we don't lose anything. So I'm saving on the fly, and then from there, I will scroll down, and you'll see that we have some action boxes here that we just kind of threw together. These boxes are comprised of two elements. We have our back option here, which is our background, and then we also have our front end, which is our text right here. Our text is basically sitting on top of the background, and we want our text to be selected because we want it to be searchable in Google. So if I want to change the background, let's suppose that, okay, well, actually, we're going to change this. We're going to say, photo class, and I'll choose apply. Now, yes, I could have typed in directly here. I could have done the exact same thing. But again, I like to go into the edit box in case I want to do some additional advanced editing that isn't available right here. I'm going to go ahead and change the background. Now watch how fast we do this. I click on the little pencil tool. I go to background. I'm going to click on the little background image button here, upload background image. I'm going to select it. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to pick an image that I've already had uploaded. I'm going to choose apply. And it's done. And if I save this, that image is now live and applied. And so anybody who goes to our website and refreshes, they'll actually see this. That's how easy it is. Now, one thing I do want to show you, if you didn't see it there, I'm going to click back on the pencil tool here. I'm going to go to background. You'll see we have a lot of different options here. Now, we're not going to cover them in depth right now just because of our time together, but I just want to let you know what is available for these. We have our standard colored background text here. And so with this said, if I click on the background text, I can actually choose a background color. So it doesn't have to be an image, it doesn't have to be anything. I can choose whatever that is. And I can even add some transparency to that to kind of soften that up a little bit. That's basically the background there. Again, I can go back to the image, which I just worked with. I could choose a video, and this is very powerful. We'll see this on the About Us page if we have time to get there, but all you have to do is grab a YouTube video link and paste it in here. And this would be the ID. This is the ending extension, which is typically numbers and letters that you'd put in here. Now, as you know, most YouTube videos actually have sound, and so you could choose to turn off that sound. Along with that, you can choose when that video starts. You can choose what quality the video has, and that will actually be based off of what quality the original video is. And then, of course, you can have a background overlay over that video so you can darken that up a little bit as well. Real quickly, I'm going to go back to the image here just so I can show you some cool animation. So there's that. And as we go there, let me go back to the animation here. And so if I wanted to, I can actually have, this image bounce in when people scroll down to it. I can have it fade in. My favorite is like the zoom, kind of zooms in. And so just some really cool effects. One other cool thing here that we'll see a little bit later is the hide on mobile. Everything on the website can be hidden on mobile. This is very powerful because this really gives you the ability to give your mobile users a different experience than those who are viewing your website in its full view. And so this also helps that if your website has a lot of images and movies, that can take up a lot of bandwidth and it can take up a lot of loading time on a mobile device. And so you can choose what is shown on a mobile device, and we'll see that in just a moment as well. Now, real quickly, somebody asked if we can add existing forms that they already have built. The answer is yes. In fact, I'm going to show you something that we didn't show in our first webinar, but since you guys are the late crowd, we'll show you. I'm going to go ahead and add, let's see here. I'm going to get rid of this gentleman, or actually, I'm going to get rid of the information box here, and I'm going to add a form. And we're going to cover all this a little bit more here in just a little bit. And so I'm going to click on this. This contact form is probably going to be huge because I don't have something small enough for that, but we'll just see how it looks. So I'll go ahead and scroll down. Yeah, it's a huge form. So just to kind of give you an idea, I would never really put a form right there just like that, but just to see that we did have a form built in the back end and we're able to add it on the fly. And so hopefully that answers the question. I'm going to go ahead and remove that because that looks hideous. And so we'll get rid of that. Now, here's another cool effect, is I can actually copy from other elements on the page as well. For instance, I have this text right here. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And so I have this little button here. And real quickly, if you didn't see that, I'm going to click on this little 3 ellipsis dot here. And I'm going to click on the double copy button here. And when I select that, it pastes it right in. Now, I want to bring this over here, but I don't have a container. So I'm going to create one. I'm going to click on the plus sign. And let's see, actually, I'm going to see if I can actually literally grab that over there. Let's see if we can do that here. Yeah, it looks like it'll let me. There we go. And I'm going to change that to 1. So you'll see that all I did was copy and paste. Imagine how much time you can save if you're copying information and pasting it and then just simply changing what it's doing. And so we'll see a little bit about that here in just a moment. So that's pretty much the homepage. But one other element I want to show you is something that's become a frustration for some of our clients is updating the footer information. Because businesses move, churches move, and their addresses may change, or their phone numbers may change, or they may want to add different, social connections, whatever. The fact is that instead of now having to use maintenance time to call us to change that information, you can do this on the fly. You can actually come down here and click anywhere and start updating your information. If you need to change your phone number, you can do that now. It's very simple. If you want to add a new social connectivity link, you can do that. And if I want to, I can add a link to this. If I highlight this here, let's see if it'll let me. There we go. I have my little link box here. I'm going to paste the link here. And remember, I do want to open this in a new window. And I'm going to click on the checkbox there. I'm going to click off of it. And now that has become a new link. And if I save this, remember, always saving our work. I'm going to go back to the original site here. This was the one that is the live site. I'm going to scroll down. There's my new image that I saw. And up, here's Gridbox. And I can click on that, and now it goes to Gridbox's website. Now, some people may be asking, well, I don't like this color blue. That's kind of ugly. Can we make it a different color? I'm glad you asked. Yes, we can. Remember, up at our little gear here, this is our main global editor, if you will. We want to select the footer since the footer is this portion down here. So I'm going to click on footer, and I have typography, and I'm going to select that. And here are all my custom styles that I can work with. And so I can change the paragraph style to be any font that I want that Google provides. And of course, H1 through H6, I can change it to any color. And so that way, anything that is applied to these will take on those effects. But we also have these links. And so I can select that. And I can change my hover. And let's suppose I want that to be like a bright red. There we go. I'll close that. And so now if I come over, you'll see that it changes my link to a bright red. Before, you would have had to create your own custom CSS for this to apply it to this specific page or all the pages, and it just took time. Now you can do it on the fly. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and save. And so that's how easy it is to update this particular page. Now, once again, if I go to the About Us page, and actually I'm going to close out these two boxes here. I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to click on the About Us page. This is all editable information. So all I have to do is click on Edit Page because I'm already logged in, and now I can go into edit mode. And once I'm in edit mode, I can now change this information. I can come in here and I can start typing in, ministry information if I want to, or product information. I can change out these images very quickly. If if this video, if I want to change that, I can select the pencil tool and I can go to background and I can change out this code for a different video if I want to. All these things you can do on the fly. One of the benefits too, since we do have a video kind of going here, is I can tell you, we can come over here and change the background overlay just like we did with images, and you'll see that it gets darker. And I can choose how dark it gets or how light it gets. And so I can get very dark or I can get, very bright. Again, a lot of just easy stuff to work with. And of course, I can hide that video on mobile if I don't want to show that for bandwidth. Now, if I click on save, this will save everything. It's the same thing as going up to the top left and clicking on save. And so, just so you know, when you click on save, you then override the ability to undo or redo anything. So with that said, we'll kind of look through here, and getting these images to kind of see how they zoom in like that, that's a standard effect. If we go to the image options, we have some lightbox effect. If I choose lightbox, now when I click on it, it actually opens up like a light box. And so you can actually, every image could be almost its own gallery. It's a really powerful tool. With that said, I want to bring us real quickly over to our new page. And I'm going to go ahead and click on edit. I'm going to show you how fast you can create a brand new ministry page or a business page with ease. It's super simple to do. Once you're in the edit view, now we can actually have this button here. It says new section. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. Just like the page builder, if you've ever worked with a page builder, the page builder works within an article. This, however, works within a page. It's the entire page. And so, excuse me, you never have to work with multiple articles again. This, you can create anything you want. Any website that you see online, you can pretty much mimic 100%. And so here I have some pre-made columns that I can add that are already set. We also have added with this page blocks. And we have different options to choose from. And so you'll see that we have different features that we can throw in there and so forth. And then of course we have our last tab, which is a library, and you'll see that that's blank. The beautiful thing about a library is maybe you create something on your website that you really like and you want to apply that to different pages, maybe not all the pages, but some of the pages. You can save that information into your library and then apply that throughout the entire site. And so it creates a very powerful tool here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to first start off with a standard single column. Now you'll see that it just kind of throws in this little gray box, but the moment I bring my mouse over there, that's when you start seeing the grid. And so we have our outer grid or our section grid, and then we have our row or column grid, and then we have the inner grid, which is our item that we would put inside there. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just to kind of show you some of the cool features that this has, I'm going to click on the plus sign next to or inside of our item grid. The moment I do this, you're going to see a lot of different options here. Now, these options may or may not be available to you depending on what plan you have with us, what subscription plan. If you are on the Works platform, you will have all of these, and actually there are more that we haven't even uploaded on here that are available, and we're adding more even now. And so if you are on our higher end platform, you will still get the maintenance time, you will still get all of these upgrades automatically. And so they'll just be a part of your stuff. You'll log into your website one day, you'll go to upload plugin, and you'll see, boom, there they are. And so it's just a great feature. If you're on our lower platforms, you'll pretty much just have the module, image, text, and button, but you'll have the ability to purchase these separately. And if you have any questions about that, you can certainly ask and talk to us afterwards. All right, so since I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just go ahead and throw in a gallery. Now I've created a gallery in the back end. This is something that's already available. You can create as many galleries as you want. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on this and test server. Let me refresh this page here. Sometimes our server goes faster than my mind. So let's see here. Let me choose close. There we go. All right, so here it is. We actually have our brand new gallery. It's automatically in there. This is grabbing it from the back end, and it acts just like a typical gallery would. If I click on it, I can go through. One benefit to this gallery too is it comes with share features. So you can share these images to Twitter, Facebook, Google+, Pinterest. You can allow your users to love each image. And so it kind of creates this Web 3.0 to where it really gets into the social connectivity of what people are working with. It's not just you providing information, it's your users interacting with your website as well. If I don't like this, let's suppose that I'm thinking, I really don't want this. I can go ahead and click on the ellipsis tool and I can delete this entire section and that's gone. If I want to add something very easily, I'll click on new section. I'm going to click on one column and I'm going to show you how to create a full-size banner. This is super cool here. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to click on the section pencil here, which is the outer ring. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Comes up to background, border, padding, and so forth. I'm going to choose background. And once I'm here, I'm going to choose full width. And the moment, I don't know if you saw that, if you look back at the grid here, you'll see that it goes full width. If I uncheck that, it basically comes to a margin point here, but if I select it, it literally goes from the left side all the way to the right side of the screen. I'm going to go ahead and click on the image tool, and of course, yes, you can have a video in here, but we're going to choose an image for now, and I'm going to choose select. And I'm going to scroll down, and I've already uploaded my image that I want, so I'll go ahead and click on that. I'll choose apply, and you'll see now that I have this background image. And so with that, you'll see that it's kind of thin though. I mean, it's not really big and it's not really showing much, but I'm going to go ahead and change that. I'm going to come over here to padding. Padding is what is basically the inside of the box. And so I'm going to change the padding, the top padding to 150. And again, this is everything that we're doing on the front end. Before you would have to do all this in code if you knew how to code. But now you can do this right on the front end. One benefit too, and whether we knew it or not, we were actually creating a parallax. As I move my slider, you'll see the background image doesn't change. And so this is a parallax image. But if I want it to be a fixed image, meaning I don't want it to be parallax, I can change that as well. I'm going to go ahead and click on the pencil tool. I'm going to choose background. And right here where it says fixed background, I'm going to uncheck that. Now, the moment I do that, you're going to see the image will now automatically fit to the inside of that box. And once I start to scroll, that image does not move. So that is now a static image. I have some other options. Again, background overlay. If I want to darken it up, I can add some animation. If they to zoom in when they first get to the page and so forth. I can hide this on mobile as well, just as we've seen before. One of the most common things that people like to do on top of a banner is add text. And so we're going to do that very quickly here. I'm going to click on the plus sign, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on text. And you can kind of see the text there, but we're going to change that. So I'm going to click on the pencil tool, and I'm going to highlight my text here, and I'm going to say, welcome to our sub page. Very original. I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to make this a heading 1, and I'm going to center it, and I'm going to apply it, and there it is. And so now I've literally added this text on top of this image, and it is searchable by Google, which is fantastic. Now I want to add some other sections, and I can do that very quickly. I'll click on new section, and I can add maybe a 3-column box here. And this is where I can come in and I can click on the plus sign, and I'm going to add an image here, and I'll choose one of the images that we've had before. So now there's an image, and I can add this here, and I can add some text. And I can come over here, and maybe I want to add another image. And so I'll choose another image. And so really, there's really no way to go wrong with building your website. You can make this any way that you want. and I could change the padding for this. I can change the size of the images. I mean, just a lot of power to this. One of the things that I do want to show you before we close out, because we have about 15 minutes left, is a lot of churches ask us, how do you create uh, your own page, or not, excuse me, not your own page, but a bulletin? Because again, as I mentioned before, you have online bulletins, there are services that provide it, and there are some services that can cost you up to $70 a month for an online bulletin, but really, who wants to spend that? You can do that for free. And so I'm going to show you this. First of all, we are going to go, actually, we'll even use this page. Let's go ahead and recreate this. I don't think I saved anything. Oh, I guess I did. We'll go ahead and delete this. Watch how fast we do this. So let's suppose that this is now going to be our bulletin page. Really easy to do. I'm going to click on New Section. Now, one of the features here that I like to use, especially for bulletin pages, is our pre-made page blocks. These are blocks that are already created. They already kind of have a layout. They already have padding and banners and everything that are ready to go. And so I'm going to go ahead and choose image on the left. And so it automatically throws it in here, and there's already an image placement. There's some text placement to kind of give you an idea of how this is going to look. And so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and select the image, and I'm going to choose image options, and I'm going to choose select image. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something new here. I'm going to choose new folder, and I'm going to type in bulletin, and I'm going to choose create folder. So I literally just created a folder on the side here, and let's see, bulletin. I'm going to click on it to make sure that I'm inside the bulletin folder, and now I'm going to go ahead and upload some bulletin images. I'm going to click on browse, and I already have some pre-made banners that I've already created. And so instead of the traditional way of having to upload a banner one at a time, I'm going to actually click on one. I'm going to hold down the control key on my keyboard, command key if you're a Mac. I'm going to select the images that I want, and I'm going to choose open. And so I'm literally going to open or upload 5 files at a time. So I click on upload, and after a moment here, they're all uploaded into my bulletin folder. So I'm going to click on the first image, and I'm going to choose apply. And here they are. Now, some may be thinking, well, what size do these have to be? Actually, we recommend 72 dpi, but really as far as the width and the height, that's up to you, because this box will format it. It'll change the size of it. But we typically recommend small sizes when it comes to file size, because what the worst thing is to have somebody visit your website and all of a sudden they're waiting, 10, 15 seconds for an image to download. And that gets pretty frustrating. So there's our image. We put it in there, and now I can come in here and I can literally just start changing, new Bible study starting Wednesday. And then of course I can change my text. Here's something, this button. Let's suppose we don't like this pinkish salmon color. I'm going to go ahead and click on the pencil for this particular button here, and I'm going to choose style. And this is where I could change the font. Here's my background color, and so I'm going to say, let's give it maybe like a more of a bluish, grayish color there. And I'm going to go back to the button. I'm going to choose border, and I'm going to just turn off the border. I don't even like that border anymore, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to choose close. And so now I've quickly just changed the button. If I don't want the button, I can click on the ellipsis tool, and I can delete it, of course. So with that said, let's suppose that I really like the way this format looks, and I want to duplicate this entire format because maybe I have another Bible study on Thursday, and it's the same information, but the times are a little bit different. So I can come up here, and I can select the duplication tool, and look at that. It duplicates it right away, and it's still within the same grid. Now, if I didn't want to do that, I can simply undo, and it goes away. And it's just that simple. I can go ahead and create a new section here. I'm going to go back to page blocks, and I'm going to do one with the image on the right, kind of change it up a little bit. So I'll change the image here. I'll go to image options, and I'll select, we'll choose this image here. I'll choose close. Now, one benefit too is, again, here I have this ugly button that I didn't like in the first place, and instead of having to go back and figure out what color that was and to figure out the coding and all that, I'm actually just going to go ahead and duplicate this button, and I'm just going to go ahead and drag that right here. And I'm going to take this image, and I'm just going to get rid of that button altogether. Now, obviously, I would have to probably come in here and change the link of where it's linking to. We don't need them linking to the same place, but there it is. Now, let's suppose the pastor comes to you or your business owner and they say, hey, we really want this one, the events, to be above the Bible study. No problem. So I'm going to go ahead and come down to the actual section area, and I have my 4-prong arrow. I'm going to grab that, and I'm just going to drag it and let go, and it's done. That's how we reorder things. Super simple to do. One other thing I want to show you here is down here, new section. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to choose a 3-column box. Oops, actually, I apologize. Let me delete that. We want a pre-made 3-column box. So we're going to go to page blocks. There we go. So now we have one that's 3-prong here, or 3-column. I'm going to choose image options. I'm going to do this pretty quick here so we can add these images so you can just kind of see some of the power. And again, this would be an online bulletin. Really easy to do, just changing out the images. And this is something that anybody can do. You don't have to have coding knowledge or website knowledge to do this. You're just simply adding information. And so from here, I can type in, men's ministry. I can come over here and I can type in, worship. And then, of course, we'll go with youth ministry. And then, of course, you'd put in your own information. Now, one of the questions, and I'm going to say this, one of the questions people ask us is, is this mobile friendly? Yes. 2.0 is the most mobile friendly platform that we've ever worked with. Let me show you. If I go responsive on this, which is a responsive site where I kind of drag it down, you'll see that it automatically creates the responsive menu option here. And this is if somebody is looking on a very small laptop or something of that nature. But one of the benefits too to our new 2.0 platform is we have this little button up at the top right-hand side. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And you'll see we have 3 different options. We have a mobile device, we have a tablet, which would also be considered a mobile device, and we have our desktop. That's what we've been working with. But if I want to see what this page is going to look like on a mobile device, and since this is going to be a bulletin, it's probably going to be on a mobile app with Gridbox on, of course, I'm going to go ahead and select that to see how that's going to look. And automatically it pulls up my mobile emulator. And you'll see that now I can scroll through and see exactly how that's going to look on a mobile device. One benefit too is that I have some options here that are only pertaining to the mobile aspect of my site. And so I can literally click on body and I can change the typography of the body. And so I can change how the fonts look on my mobile device, and it won't change how it looks on my master website. So maybe on my master website, I have some text that might be a little bit smaller, but on a mobile device, I want it to be a little bit bigger. I can do that. I can come in here and I can start, look at that, changing the text, and it will not affect the master website. It's only affecting what I have on my mobile device. And I could save that, and then we could go forward. I could also see how that's going to look on a tablet. And so here's what the tablet view would look like. And again, you can format this any way you want. And I'm going to go back to my main device here. Now, one last thing I do want to show you, and then we're going to open up for some Q&A, is the ability to hide things on mobile. So real quickly, I just want to kind of show you, this is what it looks like on a mobile device. You'll see that we have real-time building and we have events here and so forth. I'm going to go back to the master here, and maybe I don't want this events option to be showing on a mobile device. So I'm going to click on the pencil tool for the entire section here. I'm going to go to background, and I'm going to choose hide on mobile. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. I didn't have to save, I could have just chose close, but I wanted to save so that way I don't lose this information should I refresh. I'm going to go back now to my mobile device, and you'll see that that information is now gone. That event is no longer available on mobile devices. Even if I go to the tablet, it's no longer there. And so I'll go back to master, and that really gives you the power and control to really choose what you want people to see on mobile versus a standard, your main site. And so with that said, this is the simplicity of 2.0. And let me just clarify, we've done a lot of research. We've done a lot of studying. We've looked at other competitors' tools, and I wouldn't necessarily call them competitors because we don't try to compete. We just try to provide solutions. But we've checked out Clover sites. We've worked with Weebly. We've worked with Wix. We've worked with GoDaddy Tonight. We worked with WordPress, X themes, and so forth. And working with what we have in our new 2.0 feature, because it is so open, you're not confined to a box. You can do pretty much whatever you want, and you don't have to have a master's in website technology to do it. If you see something that you like on a particular website somewhere, chances are you're going to be able to do that. And so, again, just a lot of great features with this. So what I'd like to do right now is with our group chat box open, if you have a question, go ahead and start typing that. and we will answer those questions live, and we'll leave this open. If you need to go ahead and take off, go right ahead. But at this point, we're going to pause or stop our recording. This will be the end of the recording session of the webinar. And but